Around the Causeway Coast with Denis McNeill. Have you got a minute?
It's Denis McNeill for Causeway Coast Community this morning in NRC Ballymoney, and I'm delighted to say the lady alongside me has some rather good news. Let's catch up with Paula McIntyre. Paula, how are you? Have you got a minute?
I have a minute, yes.
And my apologies for not saying Paula McIntyre MBE because of course you've big celebrations now.
I know, it's great. No, but that's quite all right. You know, I'm not going to be using it all the time, honestly.
So will you ever sign your name Paula McIntyre MBE?
I did it at the weekend. Somebody made me sign it, but I don't. You know, maybe do it. But I don't think so. No, I won't. No, I'm not like that.
I chatted to you at the Salmon and Whiskey Festival out in Bushmills, and clearly you knew at that time, and you did appear actually quite excited and quite pleased. It is a big honour.
Well, to see, for me to appear excited, that means that I was very excited. You know? Yeah, no, I was. I'm sure it's brilliant. I love it. You know, it's a fantastic honour. You know, and I think it's just a nice thing. You know, it's just a nice bit, you know, to have a bit of recognition. Also, it sums up our food scene now. I mean, we've got a great food scene. Without good producers, good farmers, there wouldn't have been an MBE for services to food, you know, so that's on drink.
Let me take Paula McIntyre MBE back to Paula McIntyre, maybe to school days or your youth or something.
Yeah.
Who are you? How, where, when did it all start?
My first job was a McDuff's restaurant. I don't know if you remember it, out in Nakadui,
yes.
And they were friends of my mum and dad. So I started working there when I was about 14. So I was in the kitchen, did a bit of waitressing. I always wanted to be involved in the food industry somehow. I still went on and did A levels and at Dalriada, and I was at Korean High for O levels. But I'd always decided I wanted to cook for a living, which in those days, now Denis, that was quite a few years ago, was not a chosen subject, and for a woman to work in a kitchen, that was just quite unheard. So we're going back about 30, 35 years, I hate to say it.
Just a few.
And I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, whenever teachers, you know, my teacher said I couldn't do that. For me, it was a wee bit of the opposite. My teacher said, you're wasting your education going into cooking. So there's I had a bit of a fight to actually do cooking. My parents are both teachers. They didn't want me to do it. They wanted me to go and go and do something academic, which is just not me really anyway. But I ended up going to the College of Business Studies in Belfast, doing a management course there, and then from there getting a scholarship to a university in America, where I ended up being there for 2 years, which was a fantastic experience. Learnt so much because a lot of the chefs that were working in the college were from a European background, so it was a really good overall.
And I also, I mentioned to you at the Salmon and Whiskey Festival,
Yes.
Paula, you have taught, I beg your pardon, you have worked in quite a few places around Northern Ireland and the UK, and you've travels that take you off here and there to do cookery demos or whatever.
That's it. Well, I mean, everybody always said to me, what is it you do? And I teach 1 day a week. That's really probably the only constant. And because I'm freelance, I made that decision a few years ago. Every week's different. Like tomorrow, for example, I'm going to Bristol to do some stuff with Radio 4. I come back on Thursday night, and Friday I'm working for Arts Council, doing a demo for veterans and doing wartime cookery. And then I'll be back on the wireless on Saturday morning. So that's what I call variety. So, and every week's the same. And I'm back to London next week. I'm going to London on Monday, come back Tuesday, go back Wednesday. And I'm actually next week, for example, I'm working on Wednesday in London with heritage cheeses, English cheeses. And then on Friday, I'm cooking food from Hampshire in Borough Market. So that's what so I don't necessarily, yes, I'm delighted to promote Northern Ireland, and there's always a bit of Northern Ireland for me. But I think with Brexit especially, we have to promote. I would have used Scottish lamb, Welsh lamb. I know that a lot of chefs I know in London are mad about Glenarm beef, Abernethy butter. So I really do think the toing and froing and promoting, cross-promotion is very, very important.
It brings us nicely to this idea of local produce. You are a superb ambassador for this area, and you strongly believe that we've got all the ingredients pretty much, if not in this area, in Northern Ireland.
Well, in this area, definitely, yeah. Because, you know, you think of what we have here on the North Coast. At this time of year, you have the lobsters practically jumping out of the sea, and we've got great vegetables. I great love of McGilligan carrots. I think they're the nicest vegetables on earth. And I think this has not been a new thing with me. And one of the lovely things that I've had, it's been really nice. I've had a lot of messages on Twitter, and a lot of what people said, you were promoting local food long before it was cool. And maybe 20 years ago when I've always just enjoyed what we have in this country. And it's great now that we are embracing it. But this is something that's been a constant in my life.
Of the meals that you've cooked, maybe in hotels or in restaurants or for groups of people, is there something rather special that you enjoy cooking? It might be one of Paula McIntyre's favourites. She makes that really well.
Well, I love working with fish, and I love working, I love to get a nice pristine piece of fish. I like to fillet it, make a stock from the bone, same with a lobster, use that to make a lovely sauce, pair it up with local vegetables, nice, good, whatever's in season, lovely fresh herbs. I grow lots of herbs at home, and I think my ethos is probably, with cooking, is probably similar to the Italian one, and Italians always say cooking should be 90% shopping and sourcing really good ingredients, and then not doing too much with them. But I mean, sometimes the food might appear simple, but that lobster stock might have taken 6 hours to cook and then reduced for another hour, and maybe emulsify it with some butter. So it looks simple, but there's a lot of work in it. But the ethos would be not to mess around too much with the raw product.
I wonder, when friends or family invite you around for a meal, I wonder there's a certain amount of awkwardness or embarrassment, as in, she's coming for a meal, what will we make, what will she think?
If you ask any of my friends, they would say I am the most unfussy person and the easiest to please, because at the end of the day, somebody else is cooking. So I go to a friend of mine, will do baked potatoes. Right, beautiful, nice baked potatoes. Sure, what could be better? A bit of butter. I am not fussy. I'm delighted, and I think the whole thing, Denis, is if you are cooking for friends yourself, for friends, you keep it simple. Yes. Do a nice pot, a stew, or at this time of year, do a nice big roast chicken and have some salad with it. Don't get your knickers in a twist. And if your friends are going to judge you for your cooking abilities, then move on and replace them. I think for me, going to somebody's house, it's about a nice glass of wine, sitting around a table, having great crack. That to me, and the food's nearly secondary. I think it's all about just have a bit of fun.
Just before some of the young students appear back in with us, just we're running out of time.
Yeah.
And I haven't told you I was going to ask you this.
All right.
When was the last time Paula McIntyre ate something like sausage and chips or fish fingers, peas and mashed spuds or something?
Well, last night, you know what I had? I had beans and toast with a lovely Dexter beef vegetable roll. So there you are.
You're starting to make me sound quite a bit normal.
No, honestly, I would have a lot of the time. This is another thing, another myth, that chefs go home and spend hours cooking. You want simple things. A lot of time, bit of Vita and toast or something like that. Good. So yeah.
And here, finally, when are you heading to the palace?
I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully when London isn't too hot.
All right, okay, listen.
I don't know.
Paula McIntyre, MBE, congratulations.
Thanks a million, Denis.
It is so richly deserved. Thank you so much for
thank
chatting to us in Causeway Coast Community.
Thank you.
With the latest MBE winner, the award winner here in Ballymoney, Paula McIntyre, MBE. I'm just plain old Denis McNeill.